Thank you for those kind words, General Nordhaus. It was a little overwhelming. Yeah. Receiving this award in this room full of great leaders is quite humbling. I had a chance to meet Senator Stevens a long time ago when he was in the Transportation Committee, and I'm pretty sure he did all the talking in that meeting. But he was a formidable guy, and it doesn't surprise me that he was part of the big reason that Bonnie was able to have so much success in setting off TAPS. To my wonderful children, Christina and Kai, Daddy and I could not have asked for better children. And you could not find two more loving and compassionate children. I love you very, very much. To my parents, Kathleen and Lou Procacci, they were my first role models. Dad was drafted and served in the Army in Baumholder, Germany, and Mom taught the GIs there, some of whom hadn't even graduated from high school, and so she was part of getting them up to speed and making sure that they had the kind of education they needed to have beyond their service. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for both being here. I joined TAPS only a few months after my husband, Dave, died. The first survivor I met at my first ever TAPS National Survivor Seminar was on Memorial Day weekend in May of 2014. And she was sitting next to me at the Marine Barracks at 8th and I at the Friday evening parade here in DC. And at the conclusion of this beautiful pageantry, the lights go out and a spotlight comes on at the roof and it shines on the bugler. And when that happened and he started playing taps, I just crumbled right into her shoulder and just collapsed into her. And she was a petite little woman in a red tap shirt. You just saw her give me this award. That was a surprise. She stayed with me. She held me when I cried so hard that my face hurt. And this is a woman who knew what it was like to lose a husband suddenly and traumatically. Her name, of course, is Lori Lachek. You saw her in the movie. You saw her give my award. Her husband, also named Dave, had died at the Pentagon 13 years before mine. And although the circumstances of both of our spouses' deaths were very different, Lori had joined TAPS for the same reason that I did, which is to find hope and healing in the wake of great tragedy. And Lori soon became my mentor. A few months later, my husband's ashes were inurned at Arlington Cemetery, and the funeral was held for September 11th, 2014. Earlier that morning, Lori had joined her Dave, or honored her Dave, at the Pentagon, at the memorial that the Pentagon holds every year for the surviving families of the victims of 9/11. And then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she turned right back around and came to Arlington Cemetery to stand by my family and me as we buried Dave on one of the most difficult days of my life. Because this is what we do at TAPS. We climb back down into the abyss of grief, of sorrow, to help our fellow survivors make their way out. And we do it in many, many ways. Bonnie Carroll taught Lori about the value of peer mentorship, and Lori told me how to be a peer mentor, and then I became a peer mentor. My children saw this, and now they are informal peer mentors within their own peer groups from their Good Grief Camp groups. Every night, my younger child, Kai, joins his group of TAPS kids and saying goodnight to each other. Christina, my older child, is a high school senior who will finish her last year of Good Grief Camp this May, and then next year she's going to turn around and give right back as a legacy mentor. My children and I have gone to every single National Military Survivor Seminar and Good Grief Camp that TAPS has ever held since Dave died. During COVID, when we couldn't gather in person, we did it online because TAPS adapted that quickly for us. We've also gone to many TAPS regional conferences, which gives us the chance to meet and get to know more families who live close to us. We've shared stories and created wonderful friendships with other TAPS families at several TAPS family campouts. We created a WhatsApp group for TAPS families in our geographic area to augment what TAPS already offers so that all of us could help each other. We visit with legislators on Capitol Hill regularly to advocate for military, veteran, and surviving families. And we live right here in DC. And I tell my kids that the reason we go to Capitol Hill is because we can represent all the TAPS families who don't have the resources or the access that we have. We have made lifelong connections with grieving military families from other countries who come to TAPS, where we share our stories and our tears. And we have gone to other countries to share what we have learned in our grief journey with other grieving survivors through TAPS international programs. We attended the TAPS College Experience program, where TAPS demystified the intimidating process of applying to college. And if anybody wants to make my mother happy tonight, you will go to table 44 and ask her where Christina, who is her oldest grandchild, is going to college next year. She has already told everybody that she knows where she's going, so now she needs to tell another 600 people. We attend marathons and golf tournaments and rucking events and cycling events to cheer on teams of people who raise money for us through the Teams TAPS program. And we bond with other fellow survivors at all kinds of sporting events that are sponsored by the Teams for TAPS and Stars for TAPS program. I have personally grown so much through programs like TAPS Women's Empowerment Program and other programs that help strengthen us as individuals. When my husband died, I lost a huge part of my identity. And so I'm grateful for the retreats and the summits that Women's Empowerment offered to me. They have helped me to reclaim a part of myself and to invigorate new aspects of who I am. I am so grateful to you, Bonnie, for your leadership in 1994 to help make TAPS a reality. In the wake of your own grief, you chose to descend back down into the abyss and to help your fellow survivors. This is the model you've created. This is the model my children and I try to follow. And so I'm grateful for your kind recognition tonight, because this work gives me great personal satisfaction and a great sense of purpose to be part of this TAPS family here. And at TAPS, we are a family. We don't step back when tragedy strikes, we step forward, because we've lived this kind of life. We have the training, we have the resources, we have the community to meet a family in the worst moment of their lives and to help them survive it. And this is what makes TAPS so different. We show up in a way that others simply cannot. This past Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, when I learned that 2 National Guardsmen had been shot less than 3 miles from my house, my first instinct was to text Bonnie. And within 2 hours, Bonnie texted back and said, "We're on it." I'm not only a TAPS peer mentor, but I'm a local, and I know MedStar Hospital, which is a Tier 1 trauma unit where the Guardsmen were brought. I know that hospital. And more than anything else, I know what those hospital walls can hold. MedStar is where each of my children was born, and MedStar is also the place where my husband died. And so I know what it means to sit in uncertainty and to hold your breath waiting for the news that will change everything. I also know how comforting it can be to have a friend sitting by you in your darkest moments. My friends, Dr. Ann Brodsky and Margaret Chris, were with my children and me in the waiting room when the doctor told me that Dave had died. A few years later, inspired by the TAPS mission, Dr. Brodsky joined the TAPS Advisory Board. And 12 years later, they joined me again at MedStar this past November, where the 3 of us comforted the family, friends, and battle buddies who crowded into that waiting room near the ICU as a National Guardsman fought for his life. Both are with me here tonight. And this is why TAPS exists. Thank you, please. Yeah. And this is why TAPS exists. We turn pain into purpose. We pay it forward. We honor our heroes not by shying away from the anguish that our fellow TAPS families face. We go where others cannot. And we stay because no one should have to walk this road alone. Thank you for this recognition.